Nearly 20 years ago, Volkswagen brought over a piece of forbidden fruit to America called the R32. It was an instant hit with enthusiasts because it had a unique VR6 engine. It came standard with a 6-speed manual transmission, and of course, it also had Volkswagen's signature 4Motion all-wheel drive system. Now, since then, VW has been giving us several different versions of the R32, which was later renamed the Golf R. And today, I'm out here in Asheville, North Carolina to drive the latest version. This is the brand new 2022 Volkswagen Golf R. It's built, of course, off of the new Mark 8 Golf. And just like the GTI Platform 8, we have a completely new exterior design, a redesigned interior with more tech features, and under the hood, we have the most powerful version of the Golf R ever because we now have up to 315 horsepower. So if you guys have been looking for a driftable all-wheel drive hot hatch that offers a choice between a manual and an automatic, how does the completely redesigned Golf R stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, I want to take a quick break to thank you all for watching this video and talk about a bunch of new merch that we just added. It's all about the thunk. If you're interested in showing your support by purchasing this shirt, as well as a few others, be sure to visit the merch shelf located just below this video. Now, speaking of support, be sure to like, subscribe, and be sure to turn on all those notification bells so you're always alerted every time we make a new upload. Now, because this is a Golf R, I want to first start, of course, with what's underneath the hood. Now, I had a chance to drive this car a few months ago. However, that was a European spec car. This is now a fully US built version of the Golf R. And just like the redesigned GTI, we have a version, of course, of the company's EA888 2-liter turbocharged TFSI direct injection 4-cylinder. In this car, however, it makes nearly 30 more horsepower than the old Golf R, and about 70 more ponies versus the GTI. We have 315 horsepower and up to 295 pound-feet of torque if you guys go for the dual clutch. This one here is a manual. It has 280 pound-feet of torque. So again, this is a pretty significant jump in power versus the old one, and it also has more horsepower now versus the current generation Honda Civic Type R, which is this car's main competition in addition to the Subaru STI. Now, of course, this car comes standard with the company's 4Motion all-wheel drive system. However, VW has now added a torque vectoring rear diff, and it now comes with a drift mode. So you now can do some tail-out shenanigans in this vehicle, kind of like the way the old Ford Focus RS used to let you do that. In terms of fuel economy, the R model does suffer a little bit because this is significantly heavier. Coming in at around 3,500 pounds, this is about 200 pounds heavier versus something like a Jetta GLI and about 400 pounds heavier than the GTI. Now, of course, in terms of fuel economy, the dual clutch model will be rated to get around 23 in the city and 30 on the highway. So they did improve the fuel economy. The manual is going to be slightly less. And because this car is the most powerful Golf R, you should get to 60, Volkswagen says, in about 4.7 seconds with the dual clutch. Now, closing the hood, let's take a look at the styling changes for this all-new Mark 8 Golf R. And just like Golf Rs before it, the design is definitely very understated. I mean, you can tell if you're an enthusiast that this is a special Golf R. The cool thing about the Golf R now is all of them come standard with full LED headlights, or all the Golf's GTIs come standard with that as well. The Golf includes things like these blue accents in the headlights. You have LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals, and you can see here you have this really cool light bar that connects, or that's in the grille that actually goes across the front end, although I wish that VW had included an illuminated VW logo. Unlike the GTI, the R does not come with fog lights. The front end, again, looks a little bit more tame, and that's kind of the beauty about the R. There's a very small R badge here. But other than that, if you guys aren't familiar with this model, you'd probably just think it's another Golf that has a little bit of a blue outline in the front end. So if you like that understated look, you're gonna like, of course, what they've done here. Now, of course, looking at the rest of the side profile, VW didn't make this car any bigger for this all new generation. It's still around 167 inches long. And its wheelbase stays the same at around 103.8 inches long. You can see the wheels. These are the 19-inch wheels that come standard on all the Golf Rs. They're wrapped in a Bridgestone summer performance tire, wrapped in 35 width tires. The brakes, VW did upgrade them for this new generation. You can see they're larger, they're cross-drilled. They include these massive twin piston caliper design. And you also get these fixed rotors, which do look good. The Golf R needs upgraded brakes because of the increased performance. Now, a couple of other styling changes I'm noticing. The mirror caps here have this kind of silver aluminum finish. This is typically what Audi does on their S-Line products. So I really like this little detail here. And then Golf Rs now include a standard sunroof. You could never get a sunroof before on the previous generation, and now VW listened to a lot of the complaints because Americans said they wanted more features. The Golf R just comes in one fully loaded trim, which I think a lot of people are going to love. The other thing I also love is this new spoiler on the back. It's a little bit larger versus the previous generation. It really gives this car a really sweet, understated, but also sportier look. It kind of hints that this is a special Golf R. You have the R logo, of course, right here in the center, the typical VW badge. And then down here, a unique rear diffuser with the signature quad outlet exhaust. These are real exhausts. It sounds pretty good, although this does not offer the sport exhaust that they get in Europe. However, the standard one that you get here in America sounds great. So let's fire it up so you can hear what it sounds like. Bad for just a standard exhaust. So even though I am sad that we don't get that fancy sport exhaust in Europe, the standard one actually sounds really good. So compared to the Civic Si or the Civic Type R, this is a really nice sound. Now the taillights, you can see they're a full LED design, similar to what I've shown you guys on the GTI. I'm sad that they didn't give us sequential LED turn signals, but it does give this a much more premium design. And then because this is a hatchback, you still get plenty of space. So with the seats up, you get around just under 20 cubic feet of space. Fold down those rear seats, VW says it expands it out to around 35 cubic feet of space. That is significantly less versus the previous generation, although I believe VW has just changed the way that they actually measure the cargo space, so it actually should be larger. Now looking underneath here, you can see no temporary spare tire, it looks like. So I believe the Golf R actually comes standard with maybe run flats, or you might have to deal with a fix-a-flat kit. So let's finally hop into the interior of the US spec of the redesigned Golf R. Now, of course, if you guys have seen my review on the GTI, this interior is going to be pretty familiar. Getting inside and shutting the door, it has a nice solid sounding thunk. Remember, this is built off of the MQB platform, although it has been slightly updated to be a little bit stronger and a little bit stiffer. Now here's the key fob for the vehicle. All Golf Rs come really well equipped. This is the newest Volkswagen key, even includes an R logo over there. This is the same key that they use on the GTI and the new ID4. My tester, as you can see here, has a 6-speed manual. I'll be driving a 7-speed dual clutch for this review, however, but the engine start-stop button is right here. And then because it's a manual, you have to put the clutch in. But you can hear when the vehicle fires up, you're going to notice obviously the 2 digital displays. All Golf Rs come standard with the digital cockpit display here, which is 10.25 inches. And then you have the 10-inch display over here, which is the Discover Media Pro system. It includes wireless over-the-air updates. This is the newest system that you've also find in something like the Volkswagen ID4, although it's missing the IQ Light stuff that model has, or the that little Alexa-like thing that would talk back to you and show a little status light that's not in this vehicle. But you can see it also looks fairly modern, fairly high-tech, and it also has some pretty decent materials. Although VW is no longer the leader in that regard, but you do have a nice soft touch injection molded plastic here. It would have been nice if this was stitched, of course, in like a leatherette material. This right here almost tries to look like a carbon fiber weave material, but it's clearly plastic. When you touch it, it's very smooth in texture. It looks nice, although I would have liked a more aluminum look trim. The door panel here, you can see it's soft touch injection molded plastic. You have an aluminum accented door handle here. You have one touch power up and down for all 4 windows, and then the window switches themselves also feel pretty high quality. There's a nice padded area over here, and then you have hard plastic down here with a nice mouse fur-like lined area here for the actual door pockets. Now the steering wheel, you can see, is unique to the Golf R. It is a nice looking wheel. It's fat, it's got a nice flat bottom design. You have blue accents, you have the R logo over here, and then you have a manual tilt and telescoping function that gives you a good amount of adjustability. And you also have their newest controls here with all these touch sensitive buttons. These, I know a lot of enthusiasts hate these. They take a little bit of getting used to, but I do find that this heated wheel button here is easy to accidentally hit when you're driving this vehicle aggressively. So I think VW needs to change the location of the heated wheel button. Other than that, I like how it lights up, and it certainly looks a lot more modern. You can also customize the way this screen looks here. If I push the view button here, you can see it goes into, you can put the GPS display over there. You push the view button again, it cycles around and shows the driver assistance. Continue cycling, it'll show just your speed. And then you can also come back to the R logo page, or the R page, where it shows the tach in the center there, and it has a G meter and such. So that looks really nice. I think this is a huge upgrade over the previous generation. I think VW did a good job there. This is where I have my issue with this car here, because I like the way this looks, but you can see here there are no physical hard buttons over here. You just have a touch sensitive button here for your dual zone climate control. You have a touch sensitive button here for the audio, and everything is controlled via this screen here, along with more touch sensitive buttons here for your driver assistance, your climate, and then your drive mode selection here where you can go into that race mode over there. There's even a new drift and special mode. Now, sadly, I'm not gonna be able to try out the drift mode today. I'm hoping to be able to try that at a later date whenever VW gives me the car for a week to test. There's what the wireless CarPlay looks like. The widescreen definitely looks good. It easily pulls up Waze, whatnot. And it's relatively quick now, but I did find at times that this system takes forever to start up. Literally, you first turn on the vehicle and it will say, please wait, which is frustrating when you first get in this car. You want to adjust the climate control, you want to adjust the stereo. One cool feature is the ambient lighting in this vehicle. It offers 30 different customizable colors, and you can also adjust the brightness and adjust the brightness for a specific area. So again, this is all very nice. It just needs an upgrade in the software. And Volkswagen, please give me back my physical buttons for the volume knob, tuning knob, and just climate buttons. I think that would really make this interior a little bit easier to use. There's a wireless phone charging pad over here. The manual transmission, you can see if I put it into reverse right here, which you have to push down to go into reverse, it gives me the backup camera there with parking sensors front and rear. VW does not offer a full 360 camera, but you can see the resolution is fine. I just don't like the fisheye wide angle look. It makes it a little bit difficult to judge how far away things are. It looks like you can change the view a little bit there. It offers things like rear cross traffic alert and automatic braking, which is nice. It's to be expected, of course. So there, it's all really good. I also like the heads-up display that this car gives you. It's standard now in every Golf R. That was a feature you couldn't even get in the previous generation, and it really makes this car feel a lot more upscale. So I think a lot of people are going to be liking a lot of those upgraded features. Coming back down on the center console, you can see there's a cup holder here, which has this little adjustment that you can make here where you push that button. You can kind of adjust the way what size cup holder you want for specific drinks. You have an electronic parking brake over here. This would have been great if they gave me a stability control off button here, an actual physical button. It's actually in here. I have to go to vehicle and then please wait, and then you have to swipe over here and go to brakes. That's how you actually adjust the stability control. It's just too many steps. That makes the vehicle more complicated, and I just think that a physical button would have been better. The old Golf R wouldn't allow you to open up the center console, so you can see VW has brought that back where you now have an adjustable center console lid, some storage over there. You have 2 USB-C charging ports over there, which is nice. The seats on this vehicle are unique to the Golf R. They're heated and ventilated. They offer 3-person memory, 12-way power on the driver's side, like a 4-way power manual combination on the passenger side. Comfortable and supportive. I love the seats with the R logo over here. I think it makes the seats feel pretty special, and they hold you in place very nicely. And then above me over here, you can see VW added some LED lighting in the cabin, which is really nice. You finally have a sunroof. So those of you who wanted a sunroof, it now comes standard with a sunroof. And overall, the cabin feels really well equipped. It feels really roomy. It just doesn't feel super luxurious. It looks great with all the tech. The Harman Kardon stereo sounds good. And really, I think a lot of people for the money are going to be quite pleased with the overall feature content list that Volkswagen packs into the newest Golf R. Now, hopping into the back seat of the newest Golf R, if you guys are trying to sell this to your spouse, you'll be pleased to know that VW offers around 35.6 inches of legroom back here, which is not bad. This is comparable to a lot of other compact cars. You can see at 5'7", I have plenty of space underneath the seat for my feet. You have a fairly large center hump here, so 3 across will be a little bit tight, but look at this. You have nice features like your own set of rear seat climate controls, air vents, and 3-level heated back seats back here. So again, for the money, VW gives you a lot. There's even great storage pockets here where you can put your cell phone here on both sides. You have another storage pocket down here. Then the materials sadly are hard touch plastic back here, but it is padded where you would rest your elbows. There is also an armrest here that folds down, gives you 2 cup holders. These seats obviously fold down in a 60/40 manner. And then above me, really nice bright LED lighting in the cabin. So again, this is supposed to be the pinnacle of the Golf family, and it certainly feels that way even in the back seat. All right, so we are finally driving the brand new 2022 Golf R, and these are the US spec cars. Rob and I were actually out in Michigan like 6 months ago driving European spec cars out on an ice course, which was fun, but this is the cars that people in America are gonna buy. They've been waiting to buy it, and they are going on sale by the end of this year. So we are in the dual clutch model first. We're gonna see if we can switch over to a manual later. It's really nice how VW offers the choice, obviously, but I have the car in sport mode right now, and foot to the floor there. Now remember, this car now has almost 30 more horsepower than the previous generation. It now has more horsepower than the Civic Type R, which my editor has one. He's got a 2017. So how do you feel, Rob, about this having more power now than your car?
Mine still has more power.
Oh yeah, so yours is modded. It's not factory, but we're gonna have to wait and see what Honda does with the next gen Type R. I have a feeling Honda's going to detune it like they did for the SI, which will be a sad day. But
it will be sad.
Obviously now that we've got this model here with the dual clutch, I want to try out the launch control because VW says 4.7 seconds, and I have a feeling they are conservative. So we are a little uphill. Wow. And this is going slightly uphill. We got 4.59 seconds, which will smoke a Civic Type R, obviously. The eye roll was just so perfect there. But obviously this car with all-wheel drive, the dual clutch, we expected it to be in the mid 4-second range. It is quick. This feels quicker than the Audi S3 that I last drove, which was a couple months ago, or last month actually, in Denver. Although that car, I was at elevation. I'll have to wait until I test it out. The dual clutch in this car is fantastic. It's VW's 7-speed dual clutch. It comes with paddle shifters. It has the launch control, like I said. And the one thing that we don't get with this car that the European model had that we drove was that special sport exhaust. This car, it has somewhat of an exhaust. Ooh, like feel the grip in this thing. This feels good. And now this one does have the summer tires on it, and it has the 4Motion all-wheel drive system with a torque vectoring rear diff now. So it does give this car the ability to do drift mode, which sadly we won't be able to test out, but hey, I've got another straight road here. Let's go ahead and try out the launch control again and see what we can get. Floor the brake, accelerator. Oh, much better. All right, 4.6 seconds there. Surprisingly, it says we were going uphill a little bit more here, 2% grade, so.
Maybe a little flatter, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to try out another one. I usually like to do 3 runs, but this is very impressive performance. Much quicker than the last generation Mark 7 Golf R. And it's just nice to see Volkswagen is kind of pushing themselves a little bit further. I mean, this is the car that appeals to all the VW enthusiasts, North America and Canada. So the US and Canada are the only markets to get a manual transmission, but I suspect most people are going to end up with the dual clutch because I think the dual clutch is the one that most people like with a Golf R. Now it looks like we are going slightly downhill here, which is obviously going to increase the...
I think this is flat, it just looks like it because that's uphill.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, it's not uphill.
All right,
Give
try again. Try again.
4.4, you can do it.
Oh, okay. 4.59. But man, does this car keep pulling. It keeps pulling and pulling. And Rob noticed that like when it shifts gears, it keeps pulling. Like it almost super smooth. There's no drop off in the power, which, right, and I feel that as well. So this is now, I think, the performance benchmark for 0 to 60 performance in this segment. Obviously, I'm gonna have to wait until I get this out on a handling course or a track to test out the full handling capabilities, but VW has really gotten more serious with the Golf R because they recognize this is now the pinnacle, or it's always been the pinnacle of their performance brand. But they also wanted to make sure that this has enough features to be a halo car. So I love the fact that now we've got features like heated and cooled seats, a power sunroof, which is something that a lot of people wanted. We've got this heads-up display. We've got these 2 10-inch monitors, although, as you guys saw in the interior scene, I'm not the biggest fan of the new Volkswagen infotainment system. It's just a little bit slow and laggy, and it also has gesture controls, as you can see, which will constantly get in the way and ask what I'd like to do. But this car still has the feel of a Golf R, and what I mean by that is that it feels like a really fun, almost race car-like experience, but it also marries a comfortable ride quality and a quiet interior. In fact, it might be too quiet in here. I have the exhaust in race mode here. Everything's in race mode, and even in its firmest setting, the ride quality is really agreeable. There is a slight burble from the exhaust that you can hear. It actually shifted automatically for me there, even though I have it in manual. And VW says they upgraded the brakes on this generation, so they're bigger brakes than the old Mark 7. It's all, of course, to improve the capabilities. You've got higher thresholds in this vehicle. And I really am excited to try the drift mode out. I really want to try the drift mode out and see if I can do some tail out shenanigans, because this car reminds me a lot of the Focus RS when it was out, but it's so much more refined and just techy that it elevates itself. Like, it feels exactly like if you guys are trading your Focus RS and you want something a little bit nicer, more luxurious, but you haven't lost any of the speed, this is the car you're going to want to go to. And the fact that VW offers a dual clutch on it, which I think is probably going to be my favorite transmission. You can hear there's a little pop from the exhaust there. It definitely sounds real, but there's also some augmented noise that the VW is doing in here. It's a nice sound. This sounds better than the Type R, the current generation. Obviously, the current one sounds like a vacuum cleaner. But does it sound better than something like the Veloster N? Probably not. I think the Hyundai sounds a little bit better, but this also has more power and it's all-wheel drive. So that's what makes the Golf R super appealing. But remember, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for this car because of all the features. But I think that it's a really nice forward progression to make the Golf R even more of a standout. And I'm really enjoying the way this drives, especially with the dual clutch model. Rob thinks we can do better than 4.5, so let's try one more final run. That feels good. Oh wow, that's the slowest run today.
All right.
Well, it's still faster than VW's 4.7 claim, which we just got here, but our quickest time was 4.59. I'm obviously going to retest this when I have this car for a full week and see if I can get a little bit below 4.5, because I believe in this car. I think it should do better than that, but we're still, regardless, 4.5 seconds 0 to 60 performance for a all-wheel drive hot hatch that's around $45,000, which is a lot of money. It gives you good performance, and I think a lot of enthusiasts are going to be quite pleased with the way this car drives. So as the ultimate version within the Golf family, the R has some pretty big shoes to fill. Remember, this vehicle competes with other vehicles like the upcoming Hyundai Elantra N, the upcoming redesigned Honda Civic Type R, and the upcoming redesigned Subaru WRX STI. Now, obviously, this is the first model that's coming. There's a lot of new sport compacts that are coming out within the next few months. And after spending some time driving the American version of the Golf R, I'm pretty impressed with what VW offers here. With the dual clutch model, this car will get to 60 easily in about 4.5 seconds, probably faster. We are at elevation slightly here in Asheville, and I was really impressed with the performance. The car's handling is also markedly improved. The exhaust sounds a lot better, and like the previous generation, the ride quality is also really agreeable. Even in its full-on race mode with the dampers and then this full stiff setting, VW offers a car that you can easily daily drive with plenty of room on the inside, plenty of trunk space, and very good tech. It just requires a little bit of a learning curve, and you have to get used to the fact that the system is constantly always updating and kind of slow to respond when you first start the car. And really, if you guys can afford the expensive price tag, because VW offers the Golf R in one fully loaded trim. Basically, you take your pick between either manual or automatic. The automatic is $800 more. This one here being the manual starts at around $43,600 plus a $900 destination. The automatic that I drove earlier is around 45 grand. That makes this car about $10,000 or about $15,000 more than the base price of a GTI. However, the GTI Autobahn is around 40 grand. So at that point, if you go from fully loaded GTI to the R and spend $5,000 more, I actually think this is worth the extra charge, but also keep in mind, this is more expensive than something like the Hyundai Elantra N, which offers less power and no all-wheel drive, more expensive than the Civic Type R, which again offers less power and no all-wheel drive. So really it's up to what Subaru is gonna offer on the next gen WRX STI. But really, if you guys are looking for a high-performance all-wheel drive hot hatch, this is now one of my absolute favorites, and it's going to be the new benchmark, of course, when all the new competitors come out. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2022 Volkswagen Golf R. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. All right, so we are in the brand new 2022 Golf R with the dual clutch. So the first thing I want to test out, the 0 to 60 performance. We'll go ahead and try the launch control out. That didn't work. That didn't work. It definitely did not. But I got 5.03 with the launch control not working properly. Wow.